Good day. I am a physician. The generic versus brand name debate is far more complex than you think. You are standing in a pharmacy holding two identical-looking boxes. One costs $50 and one costs $10. Which one do you choose? The pharmacist assures you the active ingredient is exactly the same in both products on that shelf. So why does the price differ so dramatically? And is the cheaper pill doing the same job inside you? The truth about generics is a fiercely guarded industry secret that every patient needs to personally understand today. This video is for educational purposes only and does not replace professional medical advice from your doctor. A massive psychological divide exists among patients when it comes to buying their prescription medications at the pharmacy. Half of all patients refuse to buy anything but the expensive brand name original out of deep fear. The other half exclusively buys the cheapest generic available, assuming brand name pricing is nothing but pure corporate greed. The medical reality sits directly between these two positions, balanced on deeply complex and nuanced pharmacological science today. Today we settle the generic versus brand name debate once and for all, using actual regulatory and clinical data. We explain precisely why. Comparable does not mean identical in the language of pharmacokinetics and bioequivalence testing. We reveal the three specific drug classes you must never switch without your doctor's direct explicit permission first. Number 5. Generics 101. Regulators allow up to 20% absorption variance between a generic and the original brand. To understand the price difference, you must first understand precisely how a generic drug is legally manufactured. The law requires the generic pill to contain the exact same active therapeutic molecule as the brand name original. However, the manufacturer is completely legally permitted to use different fillers, binders, colorings, flavorings, and chemical coatings. Before reaching pharmacy shelves, a generic must pass bioequivalence testing to prove it enters your bloodstream comparably. Here is the critical catch that most patients and even most physicians do not clearly understand or discuss. Regulatory agencies permit a permissible absorption variance of up to 20% compared to the original brand name product. This means your generic pill might deliver slightly more or slightly less active medication into your bloodstream each day. Comparable absorption is not mathematically identical absorption, and for certain medications, that distinction is genuinely life-altering and critical. Understanding this fundamental pharmacological fact is the foundation of every intelligent generic substitution decision you will ever make. Number 4. When switching is safe. For most daily maintenance medications, the minor variance makes zero measurable clinical difference. For the vast majority of common daily maintenance medications, that minor absorption variance makes absolutely zero clinical difference. If you take standard blood pressure medications like amlodipine, high-quality generic perform with complete and consistent clinical equivalence. Cholesterol-lowering statins like rosuvastatin and common type 2 diabetes treatments like metformin are also safe to switch confidently. Your cardiovascular system and glucose receptors are resilient and unaffected by slight fluctuations in how fast a pill dissolves. In these massive drug categories, paying 5 times more for the brand name box provides zero additional measurable health benefit. You are paying exclusively for the marketing budget, the celebrity endorsement, and the glossy packaging, not for better medicine. Standard antibiotics, common over-the-counter pain relievers, and basic allergy medications are also completely safe to buy as generics. Saving money on these categories is intelligent financial management and has been supported by decades of solid clinical evidence. You can confidently tell your pharmacist yes to generic substitution for these categories without consulting your physician first. Number 3. When switching is dangerous, a 10% absorption variance can trigger a catastrophic seizure or major stroke. While saving money on blood pressure pills is smart, applying that logic to certain drug classes is dangerous. There are classes of medications that pharmacologists formally classify as possessing a narrow therapeutic window of action. This means the physical difference between a dose that effectively treats and a dose that severely harms is razor-thin. Warfarin for blood clots, levothyroxine for thyroid dysfunction, and anti-epileptic medications all fall into this narrow therapeutic window category. A 10% absorption variance that is completely irrelevant for ibuprofen can cause catastrophic consequences with these specific drugs. That minor variance could trigger a massive stroke, a catastrophic uncontrolled seizure, or a severe hormonal system collapse. Never switch any narrow therapeutic window medication between brand and generic without intensive clinical monitoring and physician approval. If you are currently stable on a specific brand or generic, do not allow your pharmacy to substitute arbitrarily. Write explicitly on your prescription that no substitution is permitted if you take any narrow therapeutic window medication today. If you find this science-based breakdown helpful, please click subscribe and tap the notification bell right now. It only takes absolutely 1 second, but ensures you never miss the next video in this series. Number 2. How to verify generic quality. Not all generic manufacturers operate under the same ethical or safety standards. Not all generic pharmaceutical manufacturers operate under equivalent ethical standards, safety protocols, or quality control systems worldwide. To protect yourself, you must become your own quality control advocate at every pharmacy visit you make. Before accepting a generic substitution at the pharmacy counter, look directly at the box for certification marks. Check specifically for a Good Manufacturing Practice certification, abbreviated as GMP, which is an internationally recognized quality standard. This seal guarantees the manufacturing facility is routinely inspected for chemical purity and rigorous pharmaceutical safety standards consistently. Next, evaluate the manufacturer's established reputation and geographic origin when that information is available to you. Large, historically established generic companies based in Europe, Canada, and the United States are heavily audited and consistently reliable. Unknown brands with unclear manufacturing origins and missing documentation should raise immediate concern and prompt you to request alternatives. If your pharmacist cannot verify the manufacturer's origin or GMP certification, ask explicitly for a different verified manufacturer instead. We know exactly when you can safely save money and when switching brands creates a genuine clinical danger. But what is the single practical checklist you can carry into any pharmacy to protect yourself immediately today? Number 1. The practical list. You can safely save money on some drugs, but must never compromise on others. Managing your pharmacy budget safely requires establishing a clear and consistently applied set of personal substitution rules. You can comfortably and confidently save money on standard hypertension pills, daily statins, and basic oral diabetes medications. Standard antibiotics, common over-the-counter pain relievers, and basic antihistamines are also completely safe and sensible to buy generic. However, you should strongly reconsider switching, or at minimum, consult your specialist for complex neurological medications and synthetic hormones. Heavy psychiatric medications, sensitive anticoagulants like warfarin, and immunosuppressant drugs after organ transplant should never be switched. For those classes, the brand or generic you have stabilized on for years may be worth the cost. Biological consistency in critical medications is not a luxury. It is the foundation of a predictable clinical outcome. Always carry a written list of your medications and clearly mark which ones are approved for generic substitution. Give a copy of that list to your pharmacist and update it every time a new medication is added. The next time a pharmacist offers you a cheaper alternative, do not refuse automatically out of uninformed fear. But do not accept blindly without first pausing to ask what that specific medication actually does inside your body. Does it manage a slow chronic condition tolerant of minor variance, or is it preventing an immediate catastrophic event? If you are treating high cholesterol, save your money with complete confidence and do not look back at all. But if you are balancing on a narrow therapeutic window, Prioritize biological stability over financial savings without any hesitation. The real value of a medication is never measured by its price tag, but by its measurable clinical precision. Precision saves lives, and generic substitution, done correctly and intelligently, does not compromise that precision in the slightest degree. Subscribe, tap like, drop a comment below, and share this video with someone you love.